Okay, so happy Friday, everyone, to our special guests that are here and to everyone that is watching the live. My name is Summer, and I've been a part of the Power of Girlhood for, I believe it's 3 or 4 years now. So, always happy to support. And this Friday, I am joined by two lovely guests who I'm going to have introduce themselves. So, whoever wants to go first.
Go ahead, Kylie.
Okay. Well, my name is Kiley Transit. I'm a digital marketing specialist with an agency called PopSpeed Digital Media that Lori founded. We have been working with the Power of Girlhood for a few months now on social and website and just like really getting the messaging out there. And it's been a blast ever since. We're just really excited to be involved.
Yeah. And I'm Lori Jo Vest, and I'm the owner, one of the partners of PopSpeed Digital Marketing. And I've known Brenda, the founder of Power of Girlhood, for a little while. And she is just amazing in the work she does. And so when we put our business together and we started talking about wanting to be mission based, and we wanted to have a charitable organization or a social services type organization that we supported as part of our mission. And so that's how we ended up in this partnership. And it's just so fulfilling and wonderful to see the work being done.
Yeah, I agree, honestly. So I also want to mention that PopSpeed Digital Marketing is the Power of Girlhood's digital marketing sponsor. So thank you so much always for your support.
You're so welcome.
So definitely want to start with your careers. Just a little bit of background of how you found your purpose and how the steps it took to find your place in your careers that you're at now.
I'll go first. I've had a long one.
Right.
I actually, in high school, developed an interest in television production and broadcast production. So I went to college at Central Michigan University for their broadcast and cinematic arts program. And I was incredibly fortunate when I got out of college to get into the advertising business and then into the video production business for 25 years. It was a wonderful career. And when I was deep into the industry, the equipment was extremely expensive. You couldn't just pick up your phone and record something and to put it on your laptop and make a beautiful commercial or program that was broadcast ready. It was really, really expensive. So about 10 years ago, that industry kind of started to kind of implode and get reduced in size. A lot of people went into different businesses. And I had the opportunity to use my writing skills. I had written a book in 2008 called Who's Your Gladys? How to Turn Even the Most Difficult Customer into Your Biggest Fan. And I did that for a little while. And during that, in promoting that book, I learned so much about social media because we were using all the social channels to promote that book and the work we were doing around service, which was basically emotional management skills, emotion management, mood management skills in business. And we couched it under customer service because we thought that was a good place to be able to help people with those skills. So fast forward, the video business starts to implode. I got laid off and managed to fall into a position at an ad agency doing social media. And it was a wonderful experience. I was there 6-7 years and then started our agency. I actually got let go from that job because they lost the client. And an ad agency, when they lose a client, everyone that works on that client usually gets let go. It's a really dog eat dog world. Summer.
I see.
Dog eat dog. So I got let go, and I thought, with all my experience, what if I started my own place? What if I started my own agency? And let's see what happens. And so I got coaches and I got, all kinds of people around me and just started taking step by step to being an entrepreneur. We're 4 years in. Kiley was our first employee and she's a contract employee. But she's been here since the very beginning and has been an incredible support to allow us to grow. And once Kiley came on board, that's when we were able to say, okay, let's really get serious about this business. And can we have a mission-based business that does really good things in the world and still be profitable and successful. So that's what our experiment is. So far, so good. So
Right.
hired another full-time person named Molly, another woman that works with us. And my husband is also on the team. So now we're up to 4 people. And it's basically communicating a lot of different types of service-oriented businesses or agencies like Power of Girlhood. And that's what we do, is help them get donations and help them get more business and help them get more participants in their programs. And it's a really wonderful career choice. And the entrepreneur thing, I never thought I would have the guts to do it until they kind of pushed me into it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I will never go back and work for anyone else. So if you have entrepreneurship callings, go toward them. I tell you, go toward them.
I love your story. And I love
Thank
the
you.
power of teamwork that you're saying, because, you know, you had the vision. And a lot of times people have these visions and they want to achieve it by themselves, solely by themselves. And I'm like, you need a team. You need people to help you get where you want to go. So I love that.
Thank
And
you.
okay, so Kylie, same question.
Tough act to follow. Not that long of a career so far, but so I knew I think I kind of figured out late in high school that marketing was the direction I wanted to go in. And I got to a point probably in the middle or so of my college career where I realized when you're not marketing or advertising or promoting something that resonates with you or means something to you, I think it's kind of hard to be good at it. At least for me, it was. So it was really important for me coming right out of school. I graduated in 2019 to align myself with organizations throughout my career that meant something to me or that really aligned with what I believed in. So right out of school, I was really fortunate to get a position with I'm from Royal Oak, Michigan, with my local Chamber of Commerce. I was born and raised in Royal Oak, so it meant a lot to me to really be immersed in the business and residential side of the city that, you know, I love so much, that helped raise me. From there, I was given a position with the Detroit Zoological Society as an events coordinator, which again, I love animals, and you know, the missions behind all of the first steps in my career were really something that resonated with me and made me, you know, really want to do a good job. And then the pandemic happened, and it kind of forced me into this really interesting career shift because I had been in events and I really enjoyed it. But there were no events. So it kind of forced me to think about what's next. Do I want to wait it out? Do I not? And then I met Lori. And it was, in my opinion, like a very immediate, this is really interesting. I have some experience with social media. Let's dive in and see what happens. And then, as she said, it was a little over a year ago now that I went from part-time to full-time with PopSpeed. And it was truly the best thing that could have happened for my career because I love writing and I love social media. But in those first couple of positions, I think I realized that where I'm drawn is to missions that I align with and to, you know, there's so much going on in the world that requires attention, right? And you can't, it's really impossible to focus on everything. This position that I'm so grateful for every day allows me to have a hand in so many incredible missions, including the Power of Girlhood, that, you know, just do such important work. And it's just to be able to advertise and market and promote all of these incredible organizations that do just so much good in our community and in the world is just, it's been such a gift. So it's been awesome.
And I feel like now that you've mentioned the pandemic, your work that you guys are doing is so vital post-pandemic. It was especially important during the pandemic because everybody was at home. I mean, we could only get our news, our updates through digital sources.
Right.
And so the work that you guys are doing was super important. But I think after it's like, I think everyone's trying to connect with something, right? Something heartfelt, something emotional.
Community.
We were speaking with people in the past who were therapists, and we were saying so many people who are now seeking a therapist, right? So many emotions that happened after the pandemic. And so for you guys to be promoting organizations that do great work, like the Power of Girlhood, right? You know, even through the midst of the pandemic, there's still girls who are going to need mentors, and they need advocates who can teach them leadership skills. And so when we have people like you guys marketing that, it is so important because, like I said, after the pandemic, we have to get our news from somewhere. People weren't just out in the streets anymore. We had to sit at home and literally be forced to, soak in this information. So I want to ask about your careers, though, because everything is not all glitz and glam, right? So I want to hear your favorite part of the work that you do, but also parts that are difficult or that you're just kind of like, this is not my favorite part of the job.
Okay. I'll go first. Okay. Favorite part is we take an approach, and it's partly because it's who I am. And I want that to be a part of the company, that connected positive relationships with our clients is number one. So we have created all these amazing friendships with these people, like these clients that we end up working for them, but over time create these really deep connections and really get behind their mission to where it becomes our mission too. And so the passion, the ability to learn about a lot of different causes and contribute and be passionate about all of them is kind of awesome. I don't know, everybody gets that kind of opportunity. The difficult part, and I'm just going to lay it out here because it's so true, is we do social media, and we do it in a way that's very business and results oriented. And we do it based on training that we've had, right? Everybody has a social account, so they all think they can do it too. And so you get questions, or I don't want to, why would I want to do that? I can do that myself. And you're like, well, you can do it yourself, but are you going to get click-throughs to your website, leads, sponsors, donations? Or are you going to, what we call spray and pray, where you just put pretty pictures out there and hope something happens?
Yeah.
So the hardest part is people come into the conversations with us sometimes very boldly saying what they know about social media. And with the connected positive relationship in mind, you can't really say, no, you're wrong. So you have to figure out a way to convey the difference in the way we do it without offending the person in the knowledge that they think they have. That's a challenge. It's a real challenge sometimes.
It is. And, I want to speak to that just a little bit because I had just recently joined another nonprofit, and they quickly were like, could you run our social media? And I was like, sure, like easy peasy. I was like you said, I'll just post some pictures.
Yeah.
Actually, the marketing specialist, she ended up emailing me, and she's like, okay, well, let me give you the guidelines. And I was like, I really thought it was just posting pictures, but it's a job, it's a career, it's a skill set. And so I'm about a year in, obviously nowhere near the specialty that you guys have, but just learning everything that comes with the position has really been eye-opening, and there's a lot that goes into it. And you really do see that when you do it correctly, you get the traffic to your websites, and you get, you can market to the audience that you're actually trying to reach.
Oh yeah.
And I always tell people that, because people always kind of want this, like, I can do it myself mentality, but you also have to actually perfect the craft that you're working on,
Right.
and take it seriously. It's not supposed to be just easy. You actually have to work at it and put some growth into it. So I love that you pointed that out, because that's some good advice for somebody who's going to listen. So.
Thank you.
Okay, and Kylie, what about you?
Well, I think my favorite part about the work that we do is when we actually get to see those tangible results for our mission-based clients, whether it's a social post engaging a new board member, or increasing donations at a certain time, or, things of that nature, when you can actually really dig in and see the results and see that what you're doing is having an impact on these organizations that have such an impact. I think that's just so rewarding and so special, and really makes you feel like the value of what you're doing and what you're giving to the organizations that we serve. I have to really agree with Lori on the least favorite part. It does get difficult sometimes when, you want to always be able to say the client or the customer is always right. And unfortunately they're not. Sometimes, like in certain situations, particularly with social media, And we totally understand in a lot of cases, it's really difficult to give up the reins to something so personal, especially somebody that's in a situation similar to Lori, where they've built this organization, this business from the ground up on their own. It's a difficult thing. You want to have a hand in everything. But I do think that it's important to trust your vendors to know best about what's going to get you those results. And it's difficult for some people to do that, for sure.
Yeah.
Look, I'm telling you, I have more respect for everyone who works in digital marketing. Now that I have gone through it myself, I'm like, they're not just posting pictures, guys. It's the whole.
Right.
It's a big science experiment. We talk about it as a big science experiment. You try something and you see what happens. And you try something again, and if it works, then you do more of that, and you start to get to know the audience. And that's the fun thing about being, I think, in a communications type career in this particular time in history, is that we used to talk about back when I was, early in my career. Honestly, it was in the 80s and 90s, and everything was, how many people are you going to reach the most amount of people, and that someday there would be this thing called one-to-one marketing. That's what we do. We create for the individual person, not for the whole. We don't create something for a gigantic generic audience. We're looking for those specific people that our cause resonates with. Power of Girlhood will resonate with a certain type of person or a certain group of people. We're going to talk directly to them one-on-one through social media. So I love that part of what we do. It's just so fun to really go to the one-on-one,
And you have to also think social media in itself is still fairly new. It hasn't. I know when I think I was in high school when Twitter came out and it was all the rage and everybody loved it. And that wasn't that long ago. So now to think that social media is being used on the business side for people who actually are on there and they use their Instagram pages, influencers, or the people behind the scenes who help the businesses and the nonprofit organizations. But all of this is still fairly new, So I think a lot of people just see it and they're like, I can do that, but we have to also respect the craft that goes into it. There's, it's not easy. It is definitely not easy. So if something doesn't work, you can't say, oh, they don't know what they're doing. No, we tried it and now we're going to try a different way. And that's with any business,
That's what's so interesting too, is that's probably another thing that gets difficult to manage. Is there's a lot of misconceptions about, the analytical side of things. I know I didn't know this before starting with PopSpeed. The average engagement rate on social media is 1%.
It's actually 0.9% now.
0.9%.
It's less than 1%.
So when it gets really interesting and kind of tricky. We have several clients where, a few times a month we'll get a post that really does super well and gets anywhere from 10 to 20% engagement. And when that happens, it's a little bit of an anomaly, but we're very proud of it. And, we definitely analyze it to get as many of those as possible, but it's not the norm.
Yeah.
So it's difficult when you start to see those and, then there's a really solid post that maybe gets 5 and a client or a business owner says, so what's the problem with this post? And there's not a problem with it. That's better than your average, right? So it's funny to kind of have those conversations, and we geek out when we hit 20%.
Totally.
And everybody, I think, kind of assumes we should be doing this every time, and that's not going to happen.
Not realistic.
It's not that easy.
Right.
So I want to shift gears, actually talking more about the mission. So at least with Power of Girlhood, we are working with young girls in Metro Detroit and Metro Detroit. So just some advice for young girls. Obviously, social media does have its side effects, with young girls. They're exposed to everything on the internet. And then already with bullying, being in school, there's just a lot that obviously faces young girls today. And then on top of that, of course, the pandemic has added so much stress to everybody's lives. So just speaking to some advice that you have for a young girl that may be listening, or somebody who may want a career in digital marketing, just some advice that you would give to a young girl.
I would say, because this is how it's gone through my life, what I've noticed looking back, because I'm 59 years old tomorrow, what I noticed
Hey.
looking back, thank you, is that you, like we said earlier, you won't get anywhere alone. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. Find your mentors. Be bold in asking for mentorship. There are so many women that are happy to offer a leg up, advice, support to young women. Don't be afraid to ask, because I can look at key moments in my life where people showed up for me that were just amazingly powerful, supportive, and loving, and gave me advice and direction. And because they were those people, I followed them and followed their advice and direction. And it changed who I was for the better. That there are people, look for those people that you just connect with that are older than you, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and create friendships and ask for the mentoring, because there's a lot of people out there that are willing to support you. Look for the communities, look for communities to get involved in, and support yourself with people that are doing really good things. Surround yourself with people. I have a lot of different online groups that I participate in on Zoom, because it's still, you can't always physically make it to an event. But if you're on Zoom, you might be able to meet all kinds of wonderful people that have an interest like you do. And I'll give you an example. I'm in an entrepreneur group where we meet every Monday and we talk about all the things that we're doing and what our challenges are, and support each other. We meet every Monday for an hour. I have an accountability group first thing in the morning at 7:07. There's, I think, 12 of us, and any day there's 4 or 5 of us on the call. What are you going to do to make this a really great day? And that support of those other people is what will lift you and help you when things get tough. So look for the helpers, just like Mr. Rogers used to say, look for those people. There's people out there to give you love and to help you. You just got to recognize them and move toward them. So
Yeah, I think that is perfect advice. Because especially with, my little sister does it. I'll come over, to visit my mom because she still lives at home. She's a teenager. And I'm like, why are you just in the bed with a blanket over your head on Twitter? Like, get out there. Because she's like, I don't feel like talking to people. And I'm like, no, you have to talk to people. She wants to have a career. She was on TMZ not too long ago, a couple of times actually. So she loves marketing. She wants to get into the social media world. But I'm like, you're not going to get into it just staying on social media. You actually have to talk to people in real life.
Well, Meetup is even a place for that. Meetup, you can go to meetup.com or Eventbrite and find virtual events for people just starting out in social media, and get on there and participate. Get on LinkedIn, participate, look for the social media community groups and go in there and create a profile and play and start. There's a young man, Darius Jr. I don't remember his last name. I just know it's Darius. The kid's like 12 years old. He's on LinkedIn. He's one of my connections. And I'm like, go Darius. He's out there doing commercials and all these things and on LinkedIn. And I'm sure he's got people that help him. But when you see someone like that, a young person really getting out there and putting themselves out there and trying things, you create a community around you, and people will appreciate that. People love to help the young people on LinkedIn and in the business community. So, and you'll be an anomaly. So then you get even more attention.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
All great stuff. Okay. And then what about you, Kylie?
I have a couple. I definitely want to speak to Lori talking about mentors. I can't even begin to express the value that kind of having those mentors as I've entered my career has meant to me and what it's done for me. Between Lori and then my first supervisor when I was with my local chamber of commerce, I've been so incredibly blessed by their support and their guidance and their wisdom, and then even beyond work life, just their friendship in so many ways to be able to have somebody, outside of my mother or grandmothers, like somebody in my professional life that I can really look up to and aspire to, you know what I mean? Kind of emulate all of the good that they've done. It's just been incredible. And going beyond that, I think a couple of the things that I wish I could go back and tell my former self is that not all bad things that happen, because of course we all go through failures or times that feel very difficult. Speaking back to when the pandemic first hit and losing a job that I loved, it without that it wouldn't have propelled me into this position I'm in now, and this life I'm able to live because of this position. I'm definitely guilty of this, but taking those negative things that might happen to you and, maybe just taking a breath, taking a step back and trusting the process, that it's very possible that one of the best things that could ever happen to you will come from this and wouldn't be possible without it. And I also think that keeping your mind open to new things and not necessarily shutting off all directions that your life could go. You could have a plan of what you think that your career or your life is going to look like when you're 18, 19, 20. And it could be totally wrong. And in a couple of years, you could find yourself in this new situation that is so far and beyond different than what you had envisioned, but it could be the best thing for you. So I think keeping an open mind and just trusting the process, even when it feels like nothing good is going to come from it.
Yeah, love that. I think that is really great advice. I was actually just speaking to someone about that, because we were talking about profession and purpose, right? I am an educator, but I always thought in order to be an educator, I had to be in the classroom, right? But then through the power of girlhood, I'm still educating girls.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to schools, I'm still writing curriculum for the power of girlhood. So all of that is still education. So a lot of times I think because maybe our first job didn't work out, we're like, oh, this is not meant for me. And it's like, no, that just didn't work out. But, there's other opportunities, as you found, Kiley.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I think that is wonderful. So we will end it with just ways that we can get in contact with you, websites, social media pages, if you guys want to share that.
Go ahead, Kiley.
Our website is popspeeddigital.com. You can find all of information about what we do there. LinkedIn, PopSpeed Digital Marketing. And my personal email for work is Kiley@PopSpeed Digital. So we are happy to talk and get in touch with anybody about anything and everything Power of Girlhood. We're just so happy.
And we are open networkers on LinkedIn too. So find us both on LinkedIn. I'm an open networker. I know Kiley is too. Yep. Anyone who is interested in getting, learning more about the Power of Girlhood, we'd love to talk to you too, and put you in touch with Summer and Berhenda. And I just have to surface this, that there is, as a woman who grew up with, a huge amount of trauma in my childhood, I look at the Power of Girlhood as something that I wish I had as a teenager, because there's so many things that our culture puts on us as girls that don't allow us to easily understand our agency, our power, our ability to create a life of our dreams. And the Power of Girlhood is giving girls that wisdom and knowledge and experience to understand their true power, that they can have the life of their dreams. And I can't get behind that strongly enough, because the wisdom that you share and the things you bring to the girls to help them understand, wow, I really can do a lot of wonderful things, is priceless. Yeah. So,
and Kiley, you mentioned it a little bit. Love my parents, but my mom is obviously my favorite person ever. But I had to come to a point where I was like, I actually need mentors in like the business world. She decided to dedicate her life to staying at home. And she raised 4 amazing children. Aww. But anytime I was coming to her and she's like, well, I don't know anything about that. And I was like, but you're supposed to know. And I had to realize, I have to reach outward, and actually connect and make relationships with people who are actually in my profession that I can go to. And so when I found, that's actually how I found Verhinda. We met on Facebook, and I just reached out to her.
Oh
I was
my
like, I
gosh.
love what you're doing.
I did that
And-
too. I reached out to her on LinkedIn and said, I don't know what you're up to, but I need to know you. And I just pulled her into my circle.
The power of social media, as you can
Don't
see.
be afraid to do it.
Yep, and we've been connected ever since. So, you know, you see people's visions and goals and missions, and don't be afraid to just reach out. You know, I think a lot of times people think it has to come to them, but if you see someone, like, you can reach out to them and you can, you know, ask them to support you in whatever you're doing as well. So, great advice. And I'm glad that you really touched on that, because the power of girlhood is awesome, guys. So
It is.
It
I'm
really
telling you. And we're here for the girls. And when you're a young woman and you reach out to an older woman, I mean, intergenerational friendships are really important, in my opinion. Intergenerational friendships, we all need lots of them. And it helped if when you reach out to older people and say, hey, would you mind mentoring me? It's a thrill to be on the receiving end of that. It really is. It's a thrill to have someone say, wow, you want me to mentor you? So it's also a wonderful thing you're doing for the person that you're contacting. So, you know, it's a different way to look at it, but I think a lot of us feel that way. What a thrill that someone will want to talk to me and hear from me and me to share what I've learned. You know, that's just cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And you guys are great resources. I feel like I've learned a lot just in this short interview. So thank you for sharing your contact. People, reach out, learn more about everything that they're doing, everything that the Power of Girlhood is doing. And on that note, I want to thank everyone for watching, and I hope both of you have a really great rest of your Friday.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Bye-bye.
Bye.